What's up, weirdos? Welcome to Universe of Weirdos. I am the sickly J Craft, your host of Universe of Weirdos. I've picked up a little bit of a cold, so we're doing another AI podcast producer episode. I hope you're excited for it. People actually like these, I've noticed. I've gotten good feedback on the, hey, whenever you use your AI podcast producer, it's actually kind of funny. Because, I mean, mainly I mock the suggestions if they're stupid or, you know, we go through it. But I've had a hell of a week, and I knew that this was inevitable. I knew I would end up picking up something. I've been way too stressed. Things have been way too weird, and I've been dealing with way too much really shitty, inclement weather. As a matter of fact, where I live right now, 80% of my town is underwater. So the area where I live in Indianapolis is like completely submerged except for basically my neighborhood. So things have been a little bit weird, and within the last week, I tragically lost a really close friend of mine, and the circumstances are really fucked up and not anything that I really want to go into right now. You know, something that I'm going to have to unpack by talking to some other people that are really close to me about the situation and everything, because there are some details there that are pretty messed up, and not dealing with it too well. It's very tragic, and it was one of my closest friends in life, and, well, he decided that he didn't want to live anymore, so he called his own way out on that one, and I've been super depressed. I've been completely flooded. I've been outside dealing with elements, and of course, I picked up a little bit of a head cold. I've taken some good medicine, so I'm not as congested as I normally am, but my throat is on fire from coughing for like the last 3 days or so. So here I am, ready to go back with Squeak McBeak, letting him produce an episode of our podcast today, and we'll see what he's got going on here and what he suggested for us. Squeak McBeak, as you know, he is my AI podcast producer. He is a cyborg, robot, owl, steampunk creature that produces this podcast when I need him to. So here we go. Squeak McBeak, what have you suggested for me? The insight on this one to break kayfabe and pull the curtain back a little bit is I've just trained ChatGPT to suggest topics for me to talk about on my podcast every now and then. I've spent a few times over the last couple of months talking to it about the different things that I want my podcast to be and the different things I want to talk about on my podcast, with the experiment in mind of, can ChatGPT ever suggest a good podcast episode? Like, can it produce from top to bottom a great episode of a podcast? And so far, no. I'll be completely honest. I've done this 3 or 4 times, and so far, no is the answer. But I've managed to, through my own personality and through my own creativity, make it a listenable podcast, because there's no fucking podcast producer. Like, there's not a podcast out there produced by AI that's worth a shit unless they really put some good human elements into it, because the things that this is suggested to me before, I can't just read it straight on and it be good. I have to add a little bit of human personality to it. So just trying to do AI as your sole creative force is fucking lame. So here we are, though, and let's see what's going on. Let me read the... Also, too, is anybody out there that uses ChatGPT sick of ChatGPT basically licking your ass anytime you ask it anything or try to tell it anything or get suggestions for something? Like, what a brilliant observation you're making. What a great, intriguing question. Allow me to answer your brilliant fucking thought process. I don't need you to kiss my ass. I don't need you to stroke my ego. I'm using you as a more comprehensive Google, ChatGPT. Stop trying to be my fucking friend. This is not okay. This does not work out for me. I don't like it at all. They don't work for me, brother. All right, so here we go. Topic number 1 that it suggested after going through the "you're really great and awesome and your podcast is the best thing in the world and I'm producing it." Let's see. The weirdest things humans have normalized. All right. Explore things that would sound completely insane to an outsider. All right, like what? Here are its examples. Like how we wear tiny pieces of metal in our ears so people can communicate with us. What? Who? Are you talking about like a hearing aid? We wear tiny pieces of metal in our ears so people can communicate with us. Now, it's weird that we wear tiny pieces of metal in our ears, as in we pierce our ears. Like, I think that that's strange. But what the fuck does that mean, communicate with us? No, like, there's not a great amount of the population that wears fucking hearing aids. So, and also, that's not weird. Like, I don't know why that would sound completely insane to an outsider. Hey, this guy can't hear people. So he puts a thing in his ear that allows him to hear people. Isn't that insane? Isn't that crazy and ridiculous and unhinged human behavior? Let's see. We pay enormous amounts of money for rectangles of land. Well, where else you gonna live? Sitting in traffic for an hour to sit at a desk and send emails. You know, I have often thought that commute time should be paid. I feel like every job that you have should give you an hour's worth of pay to cover your commute time. Because when you think about it, that's work too. What am I doing for fun? I'm driving to work. Like, how's that my own leisure time? I'm on my way to clock in. This isn't like time that I had for myself blocked off to do whatever I want with. It's spent sitting in traffic. You're right. So yes, that is a completely insane to an outsider. And who are these outsiders? Like aliens? Aliens that we're trying to discuss human behavior with? I don't understand who these outsiders are, Squeak McBeak. Let's see, having separate buildings specifically for keeping our cars. Well, I mean, what are we going to do? Keep them in our own houses? We fucking breathe in all of those fumes and die from exhaust poisoning? Like, why would we do that? And sometimes you want to shelter your car from the elements. And a lot of people don't have separate buildings to keep their cars. I don't have a garage at my house. I just have a driveway, a slab driveway that me and my wife park our cars in. So that's weird. Let's see. The fact that we routinely trust machines that travel hundreds of miles per hour. Yeah, you know, you got to put your faith in certain technology sometimes if you want to deal with the convenience. I don't find that to be all that bizarre. Why some bizarre human behaviors eventually become completely ordinary. Like what? Like, you didn't even give me a suggestion on that. Like sitting in traffic to go to jobs and shit? I don't know. This is stupid. Squeak McBeak, you're off your game today. The podcast producer is not doing a very good job on this episode. What else we got? Second topic that you have here. Historical events that sound completely made up. All right, so this is good because I know a lot about okay, cool. You just gave me bullet points without going into detail of the historical event, so hopefully I know a lot of these. Let's see, the dancing plague of 1518. I do know that one. I know about that one. It was took place in France in 1518, and I think that people thought that it was some sort of weird like ergot poisoning, like mold in the bread that got people all fucking weird and trippy, and like people just started uncontrollably dancing in this French village at one point, and everybody was confused, like, I don't know, man, I just can't stop fucking grooving, bro. I can't stop fucking getting down and boogieing. People were doing the fucking Macarena in the fucking street and shit. That's what was going on in France in 1518. So yeah, dancing plague. That'd be pretty fucked up. The Great Emu War. It wasn't a war. The Great Emu War. They call it an Emu War, but it was like a thing in Australia. I don't even remember when it was, but I do know about this incident. There was the Great Emu War. Like basically, emus were ridiculous. Like their numbers were like exploding, and they were like taking over and destroying all kinds of farmland and shit. All these weird wild emus. So they had Australian people just go out and fucking gat them down, fucking hunting a bunch of emus. It's emu season, baby. I don't know if it's necessarily a war. Why would it be a war? The emus didn't fight back. That'd be great, though. I would love to fucking see that movie. Emus strapped with gats fighting back against the Australians. That'd be amazing. The Boston molasses flood. You've already suggested that I talk about this one in a previous AI producer. That's when a big thing of molasses or a molasses factory or something exploded in Boston and just filled the street with sweet, delicious syrup. And I remember making the point that I would be more than happy to help on the cleanup efforts by bringing just a giant stack of pancakes downtown and just wiping off buildings and having myself a good old time. Let's see. The Cadaver Synod, when a dead pope was put on trial. I don't know anything about that one, but that's pretty fucked up. But, I mean, you still put dead people on trial. I know that from recent personal experience, that if you're dealing with legal troubles and you kill yourself, they are still going to go to court to determine the fate of your legal sentencing, because restitutions need to be paid and certain things need to happen in your legal trial, that it don't matter if you're dead, motherfucker. People have to be paid. So, selfish fucker. The War of the Bucket. Yeah, I knew that. It was like basically a war between two towns. I think it might have been in Italy. They went to war. I mean, it was it's not because of a fucking bucket, but it was just basically one of those, like, these two towns were like really fucking against each other in all kinds of different ways. And then it kind of set off by somebody stealing some dude's bucket. And the guy was like, motherfucker, give me my bucket back or I'll whoop your ass. Fuck you, I ain't giving you your bucket back. And then it just ended up becoming a war between two towns. So, yeah, there's that one. The Pig War between the United States and Britain. I know nothing about that. Is that anything like the Emu War, where we just had to kill a bunch of pigs? Or were we at a weird stalemate between countries because of pig trading? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. And you gave me no details, Squeak McBeak, so fuck you. Let's see what else we have here. Topic number 3. What if we never stopped using outdated technology? Well, I mean, it would depend on what the technology, but you do give me some examples here, like analog clocks, which we still use. You fucking weirdo. We still use analog clocks. Paper encyclopedias, that's something that people still probably use. Like, when it comes to books and stuff, like, I don't see books ever going away. Like the tactile fucking pages you can feel in your hand and turn the page, to feel the weight of the book and everything. Like, I prefer to read a book through a book rather than a fucking app. So having it on my phone doesn't really do anything for me. So yeah, we still use those. Physical maps, we still kind of use physical maps. I mean, they are on your phone, but it still shows a map in a traditional sense, so it's weird. Rotary phones. What if we still used rotary phones? Well, it'd take a while to get a hold of somebody. Film cameras, something that we do still use. Fax machines, yeah, you're right, fax machines blow. Telegraphs and VHS tapes. Now, I don't understand this suggestion, because it's like, hey, what if we stopped progressing technology and innovating and progressing as people? Like, yeah, it would be pretty fucking stupid. Like, watching movies on VHS sucked because of all the tracking and shit. But hey, maybe if we didn't do all this high def shit that we can watch at home, people would still go to the movie theater. Because, I mean, shit, people would go to the movie theater all the time and just see all kinds of bullshit movies. Now it's like, they don't even take a chance throwing some movies in theaters, when it's like, you used to be able to go see like 3 Ninjas 2 in the theater and shit. And it's like, now it's like, if that were made today, that shit would go straight to the Disney Channel. Even the first one would. It wouldn't even fucking come close to happening. I don't know. That one was stupid. That's a stupid ass topic. The mystery of why certain places feel weird. All right, we're going to talk about liminal spaces. Is that what we're going to talk about now? Talk about places that produce an inexplicable feeling of uneasiness. Examples include abandoned shopping malls, empty schools at night, closed amusement parks, underground tunnels, deserted hotels, hospitals after hours, huge empty parking lots, buildings that are familiar but suddenly look different. Now the buildings feel familiar but suddenly look different because there's only so many ways that you can design a building. Especially structurally. So normally, yeah, a lot of buildings kind of have a similar feel to them because of architecture. But yeah, no, most of the places of these like liminal spaces and doesn't it feel weird to be in a mall when nobody else is there? Yes, because people are typically there. That's why it feels weird. An abandoned hospital feels weird because hospitals aren't normally abandoned. There's normally people there. It would be the same way as if you went to like a football stadium and there wasn't a single person in there. Like, wow, this place holds 70,000 people, and I'm the only one here. Feels weird. Yeah. Yeah, the quietness, the lack of crowd. That's pretty much why all of these places feel strange. I don't know. This one's really weird. I feel like this podcast producer episode fucking sucks. I mean, I don't know if the episode itself sucks, but the suggestions definitely are terrible. What do you think that the reason people feel this feeling is? Is it evolutionary, psychological, nostalgic? No, it's because people are normally there and they're not there now. That's why it feels weird. All right, so topic 5. How many do we have here? How many topics do we have? Let me fast forward down. Looks like only 6 topics that Squeak McBeak has suggested to me, so we might end up wrapping this one up early, which is fine because my fucking throat really hurts right now, and I don't have any sort of phlegm in it or even moisture in it to even clear my throat without it fucking hurting, so fuck this shit. I hate having a cold so bad. I hate having a sore throat. It's the worst thing in the world. Mainly because I like to smoke a little bit when my son goes to bed, and it really sucks to try to smoke with a ridiculous sore throat, so fuck this shit. Let's see. Topic number 5. The things we still don't understand about ourselves. Pick mysteries surrounding human consciousness and behavior. Now you're speaking my language, Squeak. What do we got going on here? Why do we dream? I think that's to process our thoughts and everything. I do find it really weird, like, and I know that, like, no one knows, like, the human reason behind why people actually dream. Like, what's the scientific reason behind it? But I think it's like a psychological thing that, like, it helps you process your thoughts. It helps you kind of, I don't know, maybe give your brain a rest to where, like, your certain memories and your certain experiences can make its way to other parts of your brain for long-term storage and shit. I don't know. That's just a theory based on somebody who's never studied the brain before ever. But I do find it weird, though, that we will have very weird random dreams. Like, I'll have dreams sometimes that I'm, like, flying through the air, and then I hop in, like, a weird Mario Kart style go-kart, and I'm driving on top of buildings, and it's like, there's no way that has any sort of, like, deep philosophical meaning, or it's not, like, symbolic of any sort of trauma I'm going through. Sometimes it's just weird. Sometimes it's like, dude, I had this weird dream where I could stretch my arms out as long as I could, and I was just, like, flailing around like one of those wacky tube men, and it's like, that's not a dream that's supposed to have any sort of weird random stuff. Like, it's not supposed to have some sort of deep meaning to it, I don't think. Why does deja vu happen? I don't know. I don't know why deja vu happens. Again, it's one of those mysteries. I guess that's the point of these. Man, I'm trying to speculate here just based off the top of my head. Why do I think deja vu happens? I think it's because, like, maybe it's like an intuition thing. Like, you thought, like, man, I kind of thought something like this was going to happen, and then it did. So you have this feeling of, like, I've been here before. Like, to tie this back to my personal tragedy that I'm dealing with this week of my friend taking himself out, I kind of thought that was going to happen. Like, there's some part of me deep down that really thought that he was going to do that. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's where deja vu happens. I'm sorry to fucking really bring this mood down every now and then. I realize that I am doing that, and this is supposed to be an entertaining fucking comedy show, and I'm in just, like, such a fucking pissy, weird mood, so I already apologize for this episode. It's super weird. The tone of this episode is bizarre as shit, and I get it, but I need to get something out. I really do. I have to try to be funny. I have to try to be interesting and entertaining and creative. Otherwise, I'm not going to respect myself this week. So, why do certain smells instantly transport us into childhood? Because our childhood was fucking dope. That's why. Because being a kid was the fucking shit. Where the only priorities that you had was to play with your toys and fucking watch your favorite cartoons, chill with your buddies and throw water balloons at them. That's why the smell of, like, water coming out of one of those rubber hose fucking in the fucking backyard smells, that smell transports you back to being awesome with your cousins and go jumping through sprinklers. And that's why Play-Doh makes you feel like fucking the world will be okay again if we could all just smell more Play-Doh. That's what it is. Being a kid was the shit because you didn't have the responsibilities. Even though I do firmly believe that being an adult is pretty fucking awesome because you can do whatever you want at the end of the day. Why do humans get goosebumps? Because sometimes songs sound really awesome. Sometimes you can't figure out how the person nailed that piano lick that they had in that fucking awesome song that you were just listening to. Or sometimes you don't know how a human being can hit that fucking note with their voice. And that shit just lights you up with goosebumps. That's, for me, the most times that I get goosebumps is when I'm listening to really good music. So, I don't know. I think that's why. I think that we get goosebumps because it just gives us chills to hear. I mean, I don't know the scientific reason behind it. You fucking lost me on that. But I just think that psychologically, it's just one of those of like, how the fuck do you do that? But I also don't care. I just love it. And that's why you get goosebumps. Why do we sometimes talk to ourselves? Well, because you have to get a podcast out and you don't have a co-host to talk to. Why do songs get stuck in our heads? Because they're awesome. Although sometimes really shitty songs get stuck in your head. Like, go Google Jan Terry. Jan Terry, she's made some really shitty songs that, like, she's famous for making really shitty, cringy songs, but those things get stuck in your head. Get down, goblin. Get down, goblin. Get down. Yeah, go look up some Jan Terry. She's awesome. Why do we have such an intense fascination with death? Well, because that's the ultimate end of our chapter. That's the ultimate end of the story that we're playing out in life. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we have such an intense fascination with death, but I've sure been thinking about it a lot over the last week. Holy shit. And why do humans tell stories? Well, I can answer that one for you. It's because some people can't. Some people can't and some people can. There are genuine storytellers out there that are natural storytellers. They have a natural talent for conveying information and telling things to you in an entertaining way. And then there are other people that are just like boring. They don't have any way to convey the information of like, hey, did you hear about the thing? Did you hear about that guy who did that thing? And, but people like me who've worked on it their whole lives and understand how to tell a joke and how to make a story entertaining and how to jazz it up with certain language, like, we're good at it. So that's why we do it. That's why I have to do this podcast. Like, I was in a spot. I mean, I know I've said it before in my Growing Up Funny episode, if you want to go back and listen to that. But I went through a point where I was just like, I don't need to keep doing comedy and stuff and like trying to do my own thing. I can do stuff for other people. It's not that big of a deal. I don't have to do my own podcast. I don't have to do my own stand up. And then at one point I was like, yeah, I do. I actually do have to do my own podcast and be my own brand of entertainment instead of writing other people's material because this is what I'm good at. And this is the talent that I have. And I would be an absolute jerk off if I didn't embrace that. Like, do you know how big of an asshole you would have to be if you were literally like, say, the fastest runner in the world? You were literally faster than like Usain Bolt, all of those guys. And you're just like, fuck running. I don't want to do that. Like, you kind of owe it to the world, man. If you're good at something, you have to fucking do it and put it out there. It doesn't matter if you're going to make millions doing it. It doesn't matter if you're going to be internationally beloved. You have to do it because you have to do it. You're a goddamn storyteller. You're a fucking comic. You have to go out there and fucking entertain, man. That's in your nature. You have to do it. All right, and our final topic, suggested by Squeak McBeak, are very much lacking AI producer this week. Squeak McBeak came back from the fucking 1950s with a fucking cold. He is not suggesting good topics for this AI producer episode. The future is probably going to be much weirder than we think. Yeah, no shit. Instead of standard flying cars and robot servants, talk about things future people might find bizarre about our current era. Okay? All right, like what? They might be amazed that we voluntarily carried computers in our pockets. What? Again, why would anybody be like, I can't believe people embraced the technology of their era. This is mind-blowing to me. I can't believe anybody ever used a rotary phone. How could they have ever done that? Well, it was the technology that existed. So they embraced the technology that existed. These suggestions are fucking stupid. They might find it weird that we had human drivers. All right, yeah, I could see that. Like a couple hundred years in the future. Like, wait, people drove themselves places? That's weird. They didn't just get in that weird little tube that transported them from A to B. That'll probably happen. They'll be amazed that people went to physical stores. That's still going to happen. Now, as much as, ew, sorry, I didn't mean to sniffle like that. That's fucking gross. Now, there's always going to be physical stores. I've seen this speculated over and over again that online shopping is going to eliminate everything. You're still going to go to a supermarket. You're still going to want to try on clothes before you buy them. You're still going to want to try on shoes. There's other certain places, like there's certain things where like you want to see the color in person. You want to like fuck around with the thing before you buy it. Like there's still I have a feeling, like there will be less and less, but there'll still be like cell phone stores and shit like that. Cause you want to go in, you want to play around with the new technology to see if it's something that you can grasp and do yourself. Not everything's going to be online shopping. I think that that's a silly prediction. They might find it weird that we had meetings where everyone sat around a table. Yeah, I mean, we do have Zoom meetings now. This is so stupid. Spent hours of our lives manually scrolling through information. Well, that's what I'm doing right now, and it's not very good information. They might also be amazed that people spent enormous portions of their lives commuting. Yeah, that is one thing. That is a huge loss of time, right? Like, driving from A to B. Like if teleportation existed, then so much more things would get done. Because when you think about how long flights take and shit like that, man, like all the international issues that we have could totally be solved if we could just teleport things. I wouldn't have no use for planes anymore, no use for cargo ships, just teleport things from one into another. So that's my suggestion, Squeak McBeak. I think you should get on that. I think that you should get on inventing the teleporter, because I think that would be a lot better than this fucking podcast episode that you just produced, because it was really bad. This one was not a good episode. I mean, it might have been a good episode. Again, I might have been able to pull it out and make it a little bit more entertaining, but I understand what this is, man. I'm a little bit sick. I'm absolutely grieving. I'm in a weird headspace right now, in a strange mood. So I don't know if I came across all that entertaining. I hope I did. And again, I apologize if I didn't, but I'm doing my best here, man. This podcast was therapy for me. So I appreciate you guys for listening. I appreciate you guys having patience with me and allowing me to put out this particular episode, because it's been such a fucking weird week. It's been a really, really strange week. If you want to find me on my socials, jcraft247 on X, UniverseOfWeirdos on Instagram. Send me an email, universeofweirdos@gmail.com, to get in on one of my, I don't know if it's going to be final FAQ episodes, but I'm definitely going to be spacing them out, putting maybe even a couple months in between them, because they get like half the downloads every other episode does. So feedback and questions is going to be dialed back a little bit, but I still appreciate you guys for taking part in them. And I know a lot of you guys like it. I know a lot of you like talking to me. A lot of you like when I get a little bit more personal rather than just my regular stuff that I like to do. So I get it, but I do appreciate all of you guys. And if you want to help me out, then, like, share, rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends. Give us a 5-star review and all of that good stuff on your favorite podcast platform. And, well, I'd really appreciate all of that. I'd appreciate any way that you can help me out. And I do apologize once again for this episode. I don't know how many more times I need to apologize for it, but I have been fucked up, dude. This has been a fucked up week, and I don't know how to wrap my head around it other than try to be funny. So I hope that I was able to do that, and I will see you next time for something a lot more cheerful and maybe a little bit less depressing. So I'll see you then. Blasting off. See ya.